I'm Asia, InSpanning Gateway. It's been a minute, but we're going to continue to lay a foundation of information using foundational knowledge, natural principles, and combining the masculine principles with the feminine principles, bringing things of the spirit and acknowledging things of the spirit with the knowledge of the form and bringing those two together in order for us to have a more balanced perspective of life and to see life in its actuality through natural principles. That's our binding force. That's what grounds us to this earth, especially mentally, because we all have to have some type of connection for us to be in a form of agreement. So this is about the spiritual side of life and what we're not acknowledging in our everyday moment, in our everyday atmosphere happening all around us all at the same time. Spirit is not just, beings like us and beings that have passed over. Spirit can be acknowledged in many different aspects of life. And this is about opening up the perspective of spirit and acknowledging it in everything, because everything is spirit all at the same time. Spirit, the definition of spirit is life, right? Because that's spirit in its root form. That's how we're able to identify spirit, is through life. And there's many forms of life. We can look around us and see the many forms of life. So this is about bringing spiritual principles into our everyday life and not having to feel like we have to participate in spiritual things, because that is what we do every day based off of our choices. Everything is a matter of our spirits and what we're here to do and what we're doing. So we're gonna talk about the natural principles, and we're celebrating this happy 2022 now, according to the timekeeper's time. It's 2022. And so, but we're going to talk about the natural new year compared to the artificial one that we have, and how we're able to see the difference. And once we know the root of things, then we can see how things have changed over time based off of chronology and using facts in order to piece a story together, and that's becomes a narrative. So there's many different narratives, and it's just depending on who is the whole controller of information, who's on top of that pyramid scheme. So when we're talking about the natural new year, we have to understand what the new year means. We're taught how to participate and celebrate these things, but we're not taught about the essence of what they are in their root form, how they were formed, because this is a example of a form that you can't grab a hold on to because it's in the spirit. This is how we're able to spiritually identify things that are not in front of our everyday, our two eyes. We paint a picture of things that we do mentally, and we're using the spirit realm to do that because nobody else has the ability to see the images in our mind. So mind is not just within us, it's outside of us. It's a connectivity to everything around us that's happening all at the same time. It's spirit. That's how we're able to operate. We live amongst spirits. So the universe is spiritual. If we're birthed out in this form through the universe, through the earth, then we are spirit, because that's what the universe is. We're not acknowledging the spiritual side of life. And for that example, with astronomy and astrology, they teach you how to use astronomy to track where these things are. But somehow astrology is supposed to be different. No, those things should be taught together, because that's not a holistic point of view of the world and the universe. The universe is not just forms, not just planets and stars. They have the purpose, meaning, and reasoning. The spiritual aspect of it makes the whole, the masculine and the feminine. That's why we have men and women. So this is about seeing the natural new year, and that's the time of birth, something that is new It's something that is being birthed, and birth happens on many dimensions. Um, we give birth in many different ways, not just in the physical form, because this is natural, but we give birth through our ideas, through things that we want to create for ourselves, experiences, something new. When we have endings, we have something new, a birth of something else. Birth also means origin, the start of something else. So we have to be able to identify these words not just having a singular meaning. Words are interchangeable and very manipulative. This is the basis of manipulative, is through words, and that's why the word is so powerful. So the new year is referencing things that are new. So the universe has its specific time of things becoming new, and endings and transitions. These are all part of the workings of the universe. And not only does the universe have workings of beginnings, transitions, and endings, we as individuals, we have to put ourselves in this perspective that we also go through beginnings, transitions, and endings. We also go through that same cycle that's happening simultaneously with the universe. And this is like scientifically, these things are known, but the way that they have been taught is to kind of separate the spiritual side of life, to keep people and away from that type of information through fear and scare tactics, especially when it comes to God and the devil, and not being able to look at information objectively. Yeah, and so this is really about widening perspective so we can see the natural essence of life, because that's the truth. The naturalness is the truth, the whole, there's so many words to describe, the source. So when it comes to the workings of the source, right? Because the universe works through systems. We have star systems. We have systems of seasons. We individually have seasons. We go through different times and changes, and meeting people and releasing people, and all type of things. So we all are going through seasons, not just with the earth and the universe. So, but when it comes to the workings of the universe and the earth, the time of birth is first house, Aries, springtime. That's the natural essence of the new year, because it's when things become of new, is the time of birth and creation. So just knowing that, based on that matter of natural principles, and knowing that these things are known, very much known, especially here's a specific way in which people get tricked out of knowing natural principles, is because damn, what was I gonna say? What was I gonna say? Give me a minute, hold on. I know it has to do with astrology, because they get people away from astrology just based off of a belief system and a mindset, and based off of what a book say that a man wrote, that we're supposed to look at objectively. But fuck, I forgot what I was gonna say. It's the main example of why people get misled from the spiritual life. I know it has a lot to do with the education and training systems. Okay, so maybe that's what I was going to say. So it has a lot to do with the education and the training systems, because they're not taught about the spiritual principles of life. We're taught about things in their physicality. It's very much third dimensional. And when I say that is, here's the difference. You get taught English, how to use and read English, but you don't get taught about why you use these things, the purpose of English, the meaning of English, the reason for English. You get taught about, people go to school for medical stuff, but they don't get taught about the harmony of the universe in which they were able to build these medical principles is based off of the observation of nature and the observation of beings. And so they're able to use these natural principles in order to find systems of healing, but they don't teach about why and the purpose and the meaning of these things. This is the spiritual aspect of it. We have spirit and form, masculine and feminine, and it's important to understand these concepts because it runs through everything. And we can even, this is where we come into math, dividing, using mathematics. They separate people away from knowing the purpose and meaning and reasoning of mathematics, numbers, which is numb is a form of numbing people to the source of why, the purpose, meaning, and reasoning we use these things, and they call that numerology and gematria. So it's the same thing as math. I don't understand how that is separate. But we tend to separate things, and then it breaks us apart from us seeing a more holistic point of view because of the lack of information, especially when it comes to getting this type of information, because you most definitely have to, there's many ways, but that's deep to even get into. But these are things that, and if we're going to create any type of change, and I'm definitely doing my part in doing that, especially because I have learned through knowledge, learning, teaching myself. I study, I'm a scholar, and through life experience. And the combination of that builds wisdom. So this is about bringing in these aspects together of the feminine and masculine, because it's how we're able to see life in its essence and its naturalness and know our part within that and our purpose. Because if we're spirit, right, in form, my body would not be able to live without my spirit, right? Your body wouldn't. Nobody can be able to live without life. So we are masculine and feminine, and the masculine represents the form, and the spirit represents the feminine. And I totally forgot what I was going to say. Oh, that's what I was going to say. Okay. So, if we are the form and the spirit, then that means we have purpose, meaning, and reason for being here to exist in this form. And these are the things that we're not taught about. We're taught about our physicality, but we're not taught about our purpose and meaning and reason that comes with our spirit. And we're not able to identify that aspect of life either, because we're not observing and acknowledging these things that are happening simultaneously, because we somehow have separated ourselves from that aspect of life. So this is about bringing in the whole, and we're going to continue to lay a foundation because it's our connection to the earth. That's why we have earth practicality. We have a fixed way of seeing things, because that's something we can connect to. Because that's why there's outer space, because there's many ways, different ways of seeing things. But when it comes to nature, it's what holds us all together. Natural principles and understanding what nature is. We are nature. We have natures. Nature is not separate from us. Did I even get to the new year? I didn't even get to the new year. I can never stay on task. Next video.